ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमः प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। सदा सेव्य श्रीमद्भागवती कथा यस्य श्रवणमात्रेण हरिश्चित्तं समाश्रयेत्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you all for joining. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay, sorry about that. Before we start today's verses, okay, we'll just spend a few minutes addressing a question from last week, right? Bhakti had asked, how do you keep Krishna at the center when you're working, right? So we discussed a whole lot of stuff. We spoke about chapter 12 being our absolute fundamental need, right? On a regular basis, every single day, we must work towards being the best possible version of ourselves, right? I also said that we must give our 100%. We must be loyal, we must be sincere, we must be dependable, right? Now, these are all very lofty ideals, right? We should keep practicing on a regular basis. But this Wednesday, right? I had the craziest Wednesday. There was so much work, there was so much stress, there was lots of running around. And at that time, I found myself doing all my work very sincerely with a lot of focus. But as soon as I got in the car to go somewhere else, right? Or I got done with one thing and I was in between the next one, right? I was chanting. I was just chanting, just out of habit, right? And that's when I remembered a story that Satyavati Mataji had told us. And I said, I want to share this with Bhakti and the rest of you, right? You've probably heard this before, but I think it's a very nice little story to tell us how to blend Krishna consciousness and work, right? So the story goes like this. A sadhu, a very good Brahmin, he was walking through a forest and suddenly he found a lamp. He picked it up. It looked beautiful. So he tried to clean it. He rubbed it. And out popped a Brahma Rakshas. Right? Apna Aladdin wala story. So here a Brahma Rakshas comes out. Right? Now this Brahma Rakshas, he bows down to the Brahmin, thanks him very profusely कि आपने तो मतलब मुझे बचा लिया. Right? I was stuck in that lamp forever. So now that you have saved me, I am your servant. I will do whatever work you give me. Brahmin is very happy, right? Brahma Rakshas says, ki bhai, but there is one small condition. What is that? You have to keep me busy constantly. The minute you don't have work for me, I will eat you up. Simple. Brahmin thinks ki isme kya badi baat hai? है ना? I always have so much work, so I can keep this guy busy. So he says, acha chalo, first things first, go build me a nice house. My wife has been upset for a while, so go build me a beautiful house. Brahmin thinks, okay, this is going to keep the guy busy for a year or so. But what happens? This is a Brahma Rakshas. Ek chutki bajata hai, and a beautiful house is ready. Right? Brahmin is shocked, but he's also very happy. Ki chalo, bahut sare kaam ho jayenge. Says, go, plow my fields and come. Ek chutki, work is done. Khana bana lo. Done. Go make arrangements for a big yajna. Done. Right? So everything is done instantly. And the Brahma Rakshas comes and stands in front of the Brahmin and says, ki ab bolo, ab kya kaam hai? Shuru mein that Brahmin is a little pareshan. But remember, a Brahmin is a Brahmin. Right? Obviously, he's very, very wise, very intelligent. So he comes up with an idea. He tells the Brahma Rakshas, ki go, build me a strong ladder. Okay? And make sure this ladder has 108 rungs on it, 108 steps. Whenever I give you work, right, you have to immediately do that work. And as soon as the work is over, you get on the ladder, you climb the ladder, get down. Climb the ladder, get down. Climb the ladder, get down. Right? So now what happens? Brahma Rakshas is fully occupied. जब भी काम है तो काम करता है, and when there is no work, then he's going up the ladder, down the ladder, up the ladder, down the ladder. He's completely engaged. Nice story. What does the Brahma Rakshas represent? Our mind. Our mind. Right? If our mind is engaged, it is our greatest servant. जो काम बोलो कर लेता है. But if the mind is not engaged, it is our greatest enemy. So what we need to do is, each of us has to have our own 108 steps wala ladder. What is the ladder? Our Japamala. Right? So when there is work, right, attend to the work with full sincerity, with full concentration, full diligence. As soon as the work is done, right, when there is no specific engagement, keep climbing the ladder, getting down the ladder. Right? Keep the mind busy by chanting the holy name. Always keep that Bhagavad Gita shlok in mind. To that person who's conquered his mind, the mind is the best of friends. And for one who has failed to conquer his mind, the mind is the greatest of enemies. Right? We all know idle mind is a devil's workshop. So never leave the mind unemployed, engage it in service. Right? So even for work, keep that in mind. Unconsciously, Bhagwan ka naam aa hi jayega when we're idle. At other times, focus on your work. But that unconscious chanting will happen if you've practiced chanting. Right? Therefore, sadhana is very important. Does this make sense, Bhakti? Great. Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Thank
another.
you so much, Raj.
I
No, no,
heard this story from Maharaji.
Oh, wow, lovely. Yeah, I'm sure that's how it comes. Guru Maharaj to Satyavati Mataji to us. That's the
I
beauty of
heard this from
parampara.
Maharaji because he told this story because someone had the very similar question that how I occupied my mind because it's always running around and not listening.
How nice. How nice. You're so blessed to hear it from him. How wonderful. There's another little concept that I want to clear before we go ahead. Okay, I think I've done this a few times before, but I still want to talk about it. What is Krishna consciousness? Literally, what does Krishna consciousness mean? At a later stage, it means a whole lot of lofty ideals. To us, right, when we speak to our children, and to us, beginner level sadhak, what does it mean? Consciousness simply means awareness. Correct? Krishna consciousness means being aware that Krishna is always watching me. Whatever I am doing, being aware of the fact that Krishna is always watching me. So automatically I will not do anything wrong. Correct? So Krishna consciousness means one is to be frightened. Krishna is watching me, so I will not do anything wrong. But we go a step further. That Krishna who's watching me, he is the Supreme Lord. He's always with me. He is my anchor. He is my greatest strength. And because he's always with me, I have nothing to fear. Right? He's always watching out for me. From watching me, it has to go to watching out for me. We understand? Like bacha, hai na? When there is a little child, right? He has this solid faith कि no matter what, right? My parents are going to protect me. Right? So whatever he does, he studies, he plays, he does whatever he wants to do, he does it without any tension. Why? Because parents are watching out for me. And what do parents want in return? When parents are watching out for their child, what do parents want in return? They don't want the child to keep chanting mama, mama, papa, papa. No. Hai na? They definitely want the child to be the best student that he can be the best friend that he can be attentive, be respectful, be truthful, be kind, है ना? Be grateful, take responsibility. है कि नहीं? That should be our relationship with God. And that is why I say 12th chapter gives us all the qualities, right? And we need to control our mind and be the best version of ourselves. All right? Okay, great. All this.
This was the best one. This was the best one actually. This and because you mentioned last week that Krishna is watching us, so just be very sincere with whatever you do. And this week has been horrible in terms of weather and just managing with Eva because Eva's been home. I didn't send her to school because it's really, really hot here. And I have been extremely grumpy with her. And I've been shouting a lot at her. And I'm thinking, oh my God, God is watching me. What am I doing? And she has been so kind to me where I'm like, I've been like, little down. And she literally comes with a fan. This is the fan she comes with. And she literally fans me. And she's like, Mama, don't cry. It's okay. You're fine, you're fine.
Oh, how
I was
sweet.
like, oh my God, she has been so kind to me and I've been so horrible to her. But thank you so much for saying this and bringing this, what Krishna consciousness is actually for us at this point. That really helps.
See, so just seeing Krishna in Eva, right? This is how Krishna is watching out for you. This is how he's making you comfortable. You could have had a cranky child. right? You could have had a child that would drive you up the wall, but instead look at your blessings, right? How wonderful.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So with that, we'll continue today's session. Okay. Last week we saw two types of literatures. What are they? Materialistic literature and transcendental literature. पढ़ाई नहीं करोगे तो क्लास वापस बंद होएगी. Okay, there are two kinds of literatures. What is the difference between those two? Come on, simplest difference.
They are broken down, glorifying. No, this is sorry. He had one which tells you the rituals as to what rituals to follow in a very strict manner, and then the other one is wherein what you should do to get what. So if you want, for example,
Wrong.
studies, then
Wrong.
do this day.
Literature without glories of Krishna.
Perfect.
And literature with everything else.
Perfect. Perfect. All right, Smriti has been studying so much else, so I can't even really take her to task. Okay. Okay, very good, Bhakti. Literature that glorifies the Supreme Lord is transcendental literature. Does not matter how well it is written, how beautifully words are spoken, does not matter. Right? But literature which has glories of the Lord is transcendental literature. Everything else that does not have God in it is materialistic literature. Right? Now, literature is one thing, but in the other aspects of life, so many times we have family, we have friends who come and tell us, ki, look, I am a good person. Okay? I help others, I give in charity, I give to orphanages, I give to old age homes, every birthday, every anniversary, I go to the blind school, right? Not just that, I also, chant these mantras every day. I'm very spiritually knowledgeable. I study a lot on my own, right? The only thing that I don't have is devotion to who you call the Supreme. But that's okay, right? Because am I not doing so much? Isn't that good enough? We all get asked this question, correct? Isn't that good enough? And we all have our own versions. But today we're going to listen to what Narad Muni has to say about this. Okay? The absolute correct answer. So we're going to start from text number 12. For people who've forgotten, it's chapter 5, verse number 12. Okay? Please repeat. Naishkarmyam api achyuta bhava varjitam. Na shobhate jnanam alam niranjanam. Kutah punah shashvat abhadram ishware. न चार्पितं कर्म यदपि अकारणम्.
Knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible God. What then is the use of fruitive activities which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord?
Okay. All right. So all these verses are long 4-line verses. So I'm not going to go through word meanings. I'm going to go through the essence of the verse. But anytime you want to know word meanings, please stop me and we will discuss that. Okay? Because I see that none of you are retaining too much. Maybe there's a lot of Sanskrit coming in. So today we'll try and do it with very little Sanskrit and see how the class goes. Okay? So here what Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva is, let's say there's a person who does a lot of nishkama karma. Karma without any kamana for his own self. Right? So a lot of charity, a lot of, good service. But if he does that without bhakti, achyuta bhava varjitam, without keeping Krishna at the center, then that is not great at all. Na shobhate. Narad Muni very clearly says कि do nishkam karma jitna karna hai karo. I've contributed to an orphanage, I've contributed to an old age home, I've contributed to a blind school, I distribute church every day. Whatever it is that you do that. But if you do that without Achyuta at the center, then it is simply a pious activity. It'll get you heavenly planets. It'll get you good karma. It'll get you piety. But it is not a karma. It is not something that actually takes you closer to Krishna. Even if you study a lot of scriptures, right? And you say, you know what? I am not attached at all. I'm giving up all my attachments. But if you're not attaching yourself to Krishna, then all of that is useless. We might get a lot of knowledge to destroy our ignorance. We read a lot of self-help books, right? We attend so many seminars. Even The Secret, right? It's such a wonderful book. But if you read The Secret without realizing that it is just a version of the Bhagavad Gita, if you read it without God at the center, then all it is manifestation, right? And no amount of manifestation is actually going to give you peace. So no point in trying to get detached and trying to get a lot of knowledge without God at the center. Because remember, right in the beginning, we were told the essence of all scriptures. If we do bhakti, then jnana and vairagya to automatically aata hai. Right? So we don't have to separately work hard to get jnana and vairagya. All we have to do is do bhakti. Jnana and vairagya will come as byproducts. Right? So if there is no Bhagwan at the center, then all your efforts for moksha, for jnana, for vairagya, for all of it is wasted. Why? Because the soul is naturally meant to have a loving relationship with Bhagwan. Okay? That is what every soul is actually thirsting for. If I don't have bhakti and I do all the other stuff, I might get free from suffering. But getting free from suffering is not the same as becoming happy. है ना? There's no spiritual joy. I might have the best Brahma Jnana. I might know all the verses of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. I may know all the Vedanta Sutras by heart. But if I don't have bhakti, right? If something hits me and I don't know that I can go and hold his feet and I will feel peace. If I don't have that, then there is no maja. Right? It's like having a flower without any fragrance. It's like having food without salt. Correct? Bhakti is that salt. Bhakti is that fragrance. Or think about it. If a body is lifeless, right? तुम उस बॉडी को कितना भी ड्रेस अप कर लो, right? Will you be comfortable going and hugging that body, embracing that body? No, no. Externally, the body is complete. But without the soul, na shobhate. Give me a second. Yes. Thank you. Exit. Morning. Sorry. All right. So, bhakti is the soul of spiritual life. So, Narad Muni is telling us, ask yourself one simple question. Whatever you're doing, right? Are you aware of Krishna in your life? That is why Krishna conscious. Once we become aware of Krishna, then automatically our work is getting offered to Krishna. So it is bhakti. All the knowledge, right? All the reading that we're doing, it will lead us to love Krishna more and more. Right? When life is centered on Krishna, then everything becomes beautiful. Everything becomes complete. Otherwise, it is all shrama eva hi kevalam. Wasted labor. Right? One of the Vedanta Sutras tells us, Anandamayo Bhyasat. Anandamayo. We are meant to always be Anandamay. Because the absolute truth is full of bliss. Satchit Ananda. Right? So always keep in mind, the soul is not looking for food. The soul is not looking at getting free from suffering. No, it is searching for Ananda. Right? And the Anand that our soul wants only comes when we have a relationship with Bhagwan. So, Jnana, Moksha, Nishkama Karma, everything without bhakti cannot give us Ananda. Right? So, Narad Muni is very clearly saying there's no point in doing all these other charitable kam if you don't have Krishna at the center. Right? Then, of course, it also means please don't get stuck in dharma, artha, kama. Right? These are all inauspicious activities if you don't have Krishna at the center. Dharma without Krishna, inauspicious, because it will constantly keep me entangled in this material world. Right? That is why we all need a guru like Narad Muni. Look at how he's getting Vyasdev to understand. First he said, your problem is you've not glorified Bhagwan enough. Then he explained that whatever you write, you could write volumes and volumes. But if that Harikatha is, if it is not Harikatha, then all the volumes that you've written is a place of pilgrimage for the crows. Right? But if you've written even thoda bahut about Bhagwan, right, that literature is glorious. Then he tells Narad Muni ki Jnana and Vairagya without bhakti are pointless. Right? So please remember, bhakti is not one spiritual path among many other paths. Bhakti is the path. At least Gita mein hai na, we say there is karma yoga, there's jnana yoga, there's bhakti yoga. Right? Choose what you want to get to Krishna. But of course, bhakti yoga is the simplest. भागवत में तो नारद मुनि समझाते हैं कि there is no other path. Right? Bhakti is not 1 out of 3 paths or 1 out of 8 paths कि अष्टांग कर लो या कुछ भी कर लो. No. Bhakti is the only path. Otherwise, if we try Gyan is very Rukha Sukha, right? It will make us very proud. Our Vairagya is meaningless because we can't not be attached to something. And all the karma that we do will keep putting us in karma bandhan if we don't have bhakti. That is why with Krishna at the center, when I study, then my jnana becomes vidnyan. Right? My theoretical knowledge will become realized, deeply understood knowledge. When I have Krishna in the center, then all my karma will become seva. So I will not get fasod in karma bandhan. When I have Krishna at the center, everything that I speak becomes kirtan. Right? Naturally, day by day, if this is happening, we will all get purified. So bhakti is what gives meaning to life. It makes life beautiful. It makes everything anandamay. Right? That is why bhakti is the soul of our spiritual life. And this is where Narad Muni is nudging Vyasdev ki bhai, go write this Srimad Bhagavatam, where devotion is going to be the center of everything. In our material life, see, we should understand these two words very clearly. There's Maya Bhav and there is Achyuta Bhav. Maya Bhav means this material world is everything. I'm put into this material world so that I can enjoy it endlessly. One after the other, let me keep gratifying my senses. That is Maya Bhav. Achyuta Bhav means Krishna is everything. I'm nothing. Krishna is my everything. So, dhire dhire, we have to replace our Maya Bhav with Achyuta Bhav. See, we are able to do this for this 1 hour of class that we attend, right? Or if we go and, do some Ekadashi Vrat for a few hours, on that day we are conscious. Dhire dhire, I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. But slowly and steadily, wherever we find ourselves stuck in Maya Bhav, we have to replace that with Achyuta Bhav. Being always conscious of Krishna in our lives. Okay? Now, after telling Vyasdev what he needs to do, that is write the Bhagavad, Narad Muni tells Vyasdev again what his qualifications are. Right? He has to encourage him, right? Please go write the Bhagavad because You are the right person for the job. Okay, so now in the next verse we're going to see Narad Muni is encouraging Vyasdev. Please repeat verse number 13. Atho Mahabhag Bhavan Moghatrik Shruchi Shrava Satyarato Dhruta Vritah
प्रव्रतः
Urukramasya Bandha Muktaye
बन्धमुक्तये
Samadhinas Nusmaratad Vicheshtitam Samadhina Anusmara Tat Vicheshitam.
O Vyasdeva, your vision is completely perfect. Your good fame is spotless. You are firm in vow and situated in truthfulness. And thus you can think of the pastimes of the Lord in trance for the liberation of the people in general from all material bondage.
Wonderful. Okay. Now, as parents, we have to understand the philosophy that is being used over here. Okay, it's called the sandwich process. When Narad Muni first entered, right, Vyasdev had still not surrendered to him. So Narad Muni ne kya kiya? He praised Vyasdev a lot. Right? He said, you come from such a good lineage, you have such good gurus, you've studied so well, you're such a Dhrudhavritaha. He praised him a lot. Then as soon as Vyasdev surrendered to Narad Muni ne jhapad mara. Ki bhai, what rubbish have you written so far? Right? You have no Achyuta Bhav at all in your writings, so it's all wasted literature. It's all a place of pilgrimage for the crows. Right? Now Narad Muni has told him very clearly. So after telling him that's all rubbish, he's guided him ki acha wo sab ab bhul jao. Now write the Bhagavad. Write whatever you have to write it with Krishna at the center. And now he can't leave on that note, right? Because then it's going to sour relationships. Narad Muni is going to think, yaar, kya mera guru hai, kitna rude hai, right? So now, immediately the next side of the bread comes in. Beech mein ka chutney ho gaya, right? Pehle it was nice white milk bread, beech mein chutney, and now again nice white milk bread, right? So here in this verse, Narad Muni is praising Vyasdev and telling him why he is best for the job. You are Mahabhag, right? Your Bhagya is very great. You're the son of Parashar Muni. You have association of great sages. Then you're Amogha Druk. Your vision is perfect. You can see the past, present and future. Right? You are Shruchi Shravaha. Whatever tumne suna hai, you've heard it with a pure heart. You are Satyavrata. Right? You're always Satya ka vrat palan karne wale. You are Dhrudhavritaha. You are, very, very determined. You're so good with your spiritual practices. Right? So here now, he's encouraging Vyasdev and telling him, your character is faultless. Right? And so there is nobody but you who can write this literature which is going to be centered around Krishna. Okay? So, then he gives him instruction. He tells him how to do the job. He says, Urukramasya. Urukramasya is somebody who does Urukrama, bade impossible wale tasks. What should you do? You should write about Urukramasya, because when a person reads about Krishna, Akhila Bandha Muktaye, all his bandhans, lifetimes of bandhans will get broken off. Right? So Vyasdev, do Krishna Katha. If you do Krishna Katha, then you will guide people towards liberation. I know you want to help everybody. Remember, he wrote Mahabharat for women and Shudras, Vaishyas, right? For anybody who was not intelligent, Vyasdev simplified the Vedas, wrote the Vedanta Sutras, wrote the Mahabharat, wrote the Puranas. He was doing it to help people. So Narad Muni is telling him the best way to help people, get out of this bandhan that they are stuck in, right, is to write about the glories of Krishna. But you know how you will be able to write about Krishna? Last line. Samadhina anusmara tad vicheshtitam. Sit down in samadhi. Okay? Sit down, meditate. Dhyan mein baitho. And when you sit down in meditation, Krishna is going to reveal himself to you. Right? You will be able to see all the leelas of Krishna and his devotees. And whatever is revealed to you, write that down. Okay? So this is Guru's instruction for Vyasadeva. We should take it as an instruction for us. Think of it. Are we all Mahabhaga? Yes, we are, because we found association. Right? We found the association of like-minded people. We have this amazing Bhagavad in our hands. We have time. We are educated, so we have intelligence. Thoda bahut. Hai na? So truly, we are fortunate. Right? Since we are studying the Bhagavatam, we should dhire dhire develop Amoghadrik, which is what? Shastra Chakshu. Now we should stop looking at things just for what they are. है ना? चर्म चक्षु थोड़ा सा अभी बंद करना चाहिए. We have to start looking at things with Krishna at the center. Right? We should be able to listen carefully. We should be truthful. And we should be firm in our spiritual practices. Right? Prabhupada very clearly says, if we don't have discipline, then we are like animals. Right? So Narad Muni is telling Vyasadeva, ki look Vyasadeva, you have all these qualities. So I am telling all of us here, we also have some good qualities. Right? We have to hold on to those good qualities, and Vyasadeva has been asked to write. We should read. We should try to understand. We should try to study hard. We should try to imbibe some practices in our life. And then we should try to preach to people who come to us. I don't mean preach, solutionize. If people come to us, right, we should be able to offer a solution with Krishna at the center. Make sense? Right? All right. Next verse. ततो अन्यथा किंचन यद् विवक्षतः पृथक् दृशस्तत्कृतरूपनामभिः न कर्हिचित् क्वापि च दुष्टितामतिर् लभेत वाताहतनौरिवस्पदम्.
Whatever you desire to describe that is separate in vision from the Lord simply reacts with different forms, names and results to agitate the mind, as the mind agitates a boat which has no resting place.
Okay, so in the previous verse, Narad Muni has told Vyasadeva to meditate on Krishna's Nama Rupa Guna Leela and write about them. Why? Because those writings are going to help people become free from karma bandhan. In this verse, Vyasadeva is saying why it is so important. Tato anyatha. It starts with Tato anyatha. If you do not speak about Krishna, what is going to happen? Right? Vyasadeva has written about so many pujas, so many yajnas, so many devatas. So what has happened? People have picked up whatever works best for them, right? From a material perspective. And that's all that they do, right? Each one simply looks at what is it that I want. I want a good husband. I will do this particular puja. I will ignore everything else. I want loads of money. I will do this particular puja. I will ignore everything else. Hai ki nahi? Nobody even thinks of what should be my ultimate goal. because we're all so engrossed in maxing it today. No one is thinking of tomorrow, right? So everyone is running after what is temporary. They don't care that they are going upar niche in this material world itself. In the Bhagavad Gita, if you remember, right in the beginning, the second chapter, there's a very beautiful words which tells us if we get stuck in bhog and aishwarya, then we will never find peace. Bhog aishwarya prasaktanam taya paruta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. Right? If I'm stuck, bhog means what? Enjoyment. Aishwarya means all kinds of opulence. So if I get stuck in bhog and in aishwarya, then I will only keep running. I will never experience samadhan. Today I want a gadi, tomorrow I want a makan, then I want a foreign holiday, then I want a bigger gadi. It just never stops. Right? I will keep doing dharma to get artha, to fulfill my kama. But I will never stop to think about moksha. Right? So Narad Muni is saying ki if you don't help these people, then their life will become like a boat which is caught by strong winds. That last line is an example that Narad Muni is giving. Right? He says, imagine a small boat in the middle of the ocean. If that boat does not have an anchor, and if that boat does not have a boatman, right, then the wind is going to blow it this way and that way and this way and that way, right? The boat has no control. It will never reach the shore. So our mind, if it is not connected to Krishna, we will be like that boat. One day we will run after money. Next day we will run after naam and fame. Then we will go looking for pleasure, right? Then we will worry about our future, our children. Our desires keep changing. But real happiness, वो destination कभी नहीं आएगा. This is exactly what is happening today, right? We have more information, more entertainment, more comforts than ever before. And yet, more anxiousness, more loneliness, more dissatisfaction. Why? Because the mind has not found its anchor. So the mind is always searching outside. Remember Brahma Rakshas. Do you know the meaning of Brahma Rakshas? Anybody? Oh, why did I just not say a genie? Why did I say Brahma Rakshas? Very interesting. Brahma Rakshas. Brahma मतलब उसको पूरा ज्ञान है. He has full knowledge. Right? But he's a Rakshas because उसका intention गलत है. You understand? So we are all Brahma Rakshas. We keep collecting information, right? But we don't know what to do with it. And therefore, these scriptures, they come as this wise Brahmin. Acharyas are the wise Brahmins in our life. इसीलिए वो हाथ में माल थमाते हैं. Right? You're a Brahma Rakshas, right? I have to change you to a monk. So my journey from Brahma Rakshas to a monk is climbing up that ladder and getting down that ladder. Right? So Brahma Rakshas is very, very intelligent, very capable, but just does not know what to do. So he has to be guided to doing the right thing. That is why we are Brahma Rakshas. Why? Because we haven't taken the real shelter. We're looking everywhere else. हाँ बोलो और क्या काम है? बोलो और क्या कमा के लाऊं? बोलो और कितना बड़ा घर बांधूं? Right? The minute an Acharya gives us that ladder, he puts us on the path. He anchors us. He puts us in touch with Krishna, who's the real shelter of our hearts. Right? That's why Narad Muni is saying, write about Krishna. Nothing else can give us peace. Nothing else can give us ananda. Okay? Verse number 15. Jugupsitam dharma krutenu shasatah. स्वभावरक्तस्य महान् व्यतिक्रमः यद्वाक्यतो धर्म इतीतरस्ततो न मन्यते तस्य निवारणं जनः.
The people in general are naturally inclined to enjoy, and you have encouraged them in that way in the name of religion. This is verily condemned and is quite unreasonable, because they are guided under your instructions. They will accept such activities in the name of religion and will hardly care for prohibitions.
Okay, I'm probably beginning to sound like a broken tape. And we're constantly repeating the same things. But remember, Bhagavad Gita, 700 shloks. Bhagavad, 18,000 shloks. Why? Because Bhagavad, मूढ़े लोगों के लिए टाइम लगता है समझने के लिए. Right? That is why when I was studying this now, I was thinking, oh my God, Narad Muni has become like my husband. एक ही बात कितनी बार बंदा बोल रहा है. Okay, यार, I get it. But then I thought, oh, okay, because we are mudha, because we take longer to understand, this has been repeated and repeated and repeated. Right? So in this verse, Narad Muni is telling Vyasdev, you've written the other Puranas, the Mahabharata, the Vedas, because I know your intention was right. You wanted to indirectly attract all materialistic people to Krishna. But what has happened? People have not bothered to read the end only. Just if you start off reading the Bhagavad Gita, right? You will read about karma. You will read about jnana. You won't really understand everything, right? It's also there's also about sthita prajna, about yoga. If you don't read the end, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja, right? Then you've not understood what the conclusion of the Gita is. Correct? If you're only stuck in the first few chapters, then what is going to happen? You're never going to understand that the Bhagavad Gita is actually leading you to complete surrender. So, what has Vyasadeva done? He's written elaborate Shastras. So, obviously, people are not reaching the end at all. People are just picking up material dharma that they can understand, and they are thinking, yaar, this has been written by Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is such a great man, he's the licensing authority. Right? So if Vyasadeva has said that this puja is very, very dharmic, then what I'm doing is complete dharma. Right? So they never actually get to the conclusion. They keep reading different sections of the Vedas, and they will never get to a point where they understand that they have to give up material enjoyment. It's like this, okay? A very simple example. I want to feed my son a good, healthy meal, right? I want my child to eat a good, healthy lunch. So, I serve salad, sabji, roti, dal, chawal, right? I put it all in a plate. But just to entice my child, right? Just to make him come quickly for lunch, I put a small piece of cake in the plate. Now, the child comes running, picks up the cake, eats it and goes away. Everything else is left behind. And because I have served the cake, he thinks कि तो मम्मा ने दिया है ना, तो इसमें क्या बुरा होगा? This is good only. Right? So this is what has happened with all the Shastras that Vyasadeva has written so far. Everyone's picking up the cake, वो salad, roti, sabji तो वहीं पे रह गई. Right? This concept in Shastra is known as Ardha Kukuta Jnana. Very interesting concept. Ardha Kukuta. Kukuta matlab a hen. Hen. Right? A hen that lays eggs. Kukuta is a hen. Everybody wants Ardha Kukuta. Everybody wants that part of the hen that gives us eggs. Nobody wants the front part because there you have to feed the hen. दाना डालोगे, उसको हेल्दी रखोगे तो अंडे मिलेंगे. लेकिन सबको अंडे चाहिए, किसी को खाना नहीं खिलाना है. Right? So Shastra says this is Ardha Kukuta Jnana. Unfortunately, we are all stuck in ardha kukuta jnana because we want instant gratification. We don't want to put in the effort. Right? So all they hear Vyasadev saying in all the literatures is dharma, artha, kama. Keep enjoying, keep enjoying, keep enjoying. Right? एंड व्यासदेव को भी लग रहा है कि यार एंजॉय कर करके कभी तो बंदा थक जाएगा, देन ही विल मूव टू मोक्ष. एंड दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट आवर डियर ओशो सेड, राइट, इन आवर वेरी ओन बैकयार्ड. Keep eating, keep having sex, keep enjoying. One day you will get fed up and you will want to give it up yourself. But no, unfortunately, that is not happening. Remember, we are in Kali Yuga. We are manda. We don't have the intelligence. And that is why we should not fall in that chakkar. Shastra, the Bhagavad itself, आगे जाके बोलता है कि no, this concept ना कि I will keep eating and one day I'll get fed up. It's wrong. Because it is like a खुजली. है ना? मुझे लगता है मैं थोड़ा सा खुजा लेती हूँ. लेकिन the more I खुजाओ, the worse that itch is. Right? The only solution is for me to tie my hand behind. कि भाई, let the itch be, I will not do anything about it. थोड़ी देर छोड़ दूँ, right? It will stop by itself. That is the only solution. Okay? So that is why the Vedas and the other Shastras are not what we should run to. We should stick to our Bhagavad Gita and our Bhagavatam. Right? Eskar. Sorry, darling. Santwana, you have a question, dear?
Shaji, I wish your class was 2 hours, not 1 hour.
Oh.
So much pleasure to.
I was waiting for your voice message. I did not get that.
I was too busy. I will leave you a voice message. Thank you for it. I remember very well. It's a top priority.
No problem at all.
Something very specific to tell you.
Okay.
Just a reflection on what you're saying about Kali Yuga. I also feel that what has happened is a lot of gurus have become contaminated. In the olden times, hame guru mil jati thi, even even if Drona was not a perfect guru, his knowledge was such, even if he asked Ashwatthama to cut off his thumb, or he
Ekalavya.
Karna, he was still a guru. Ekalavya, he was still a guru of that level. But today what has happened is our gurus themselves have become contaminated. So where do we go as ordinary human beings to find a guru is not easy. The Bhagavad Gita says, go find an enlightened being to instruct you. And today we have many fake gurus, and we get hurt, and we get cheated, and we get abused.
You know,
and
Santwana,
hypnotized and exploited. So that's a problem.
No, Santwana, no. I think the Bhagavad Gita also tells us, go find a guru, but when you find that guru, completely, serve and submit yourself. I'll tell you what, we're intelligent people, right? Before we find a guru, we have to evaluate that guru. Okay? Use our intelligence and evaluate, because honest to God, I am the most skeptical person. Okay? But I cannot tell you about how humbled I am by the kind of gurus that I see out there. Right? I am so humbled by such compassionate, such knowledgeable, such beautiful souls out there. Right? So if you ever feel, Santwana, that you want, a particular guru that you'd like to, please reach out to me. I will give you at least 5 names.
I have a guru.
That's
I have
wonderful.
A very wonderful guru.
That's wonderful.
More than one. But I feel that these are the people that I see around me that are disillusioned. So because I live in Switzerland, there are many people who are Christians, Protestants. They don't believe in Christ anymore. Many Hindus, many fathers and mothers who are bringing up their Indian children here, their fathers and mothers don't believe in Krishna. How will the children? So I am trying. If Krishna is not here, I am not here. He is my savior. I can't convince my daughter to believe that.
But you know what? We don't have to convince our children.
Yes. Now
remember
Acharya.
Right? Now we go to Acharyas, not Pracharyas. जो प्रवचन देते हैं हम उसके पास नहीं जाते. हम जो आचार अपने बिहेवियर से जो इन्फ्लुएंस करते हैं उसके पास जाते हैं. So as parents, our role is not to preach. Our role is to have good acharan. Right? watching us.
Yes.
When the child
Yes.
is 20, when the child is 40, he will know what is right and what is wrong.
He will
Our
know.
job
Right. You
is
see, I'm a,
on. Sorry, I'll just. Our
I'm a
job,
single.
I think, is just to give those children a moral compass.
Absolutely.
Yesterday ki
Rajat
baat.
ji, you have to teach our children. You have to find time to teach our children because you will be very good with children.
Thank you.
I love it when you scold me. When you say that you haven't, because I have not. I didn't have it ready. तो मैंने को आज निकाला. The Bhagavatam. I had showered. I could touch it. Otherwise, I can't touch it. No. But today I took it out to properly. I bought all the volumes. But I'm just forgetting my point. My point is about children that I'm a single mother. So nowadays also we have people who are pulled. We are under a lot of. So now we can chant. See, I can chant with God's grace. I can chant His name because He's put me through those challenges. But I have nobody else to tell. Only me. And we need other people. It takes a village to bring up a child. I leave it
Absolutely.
because I see a lot of other questions. But it's such a wonderful discourse. Thank you.
Thank you,
Rajat ji.
Sandhana. Thank you.
God.
You
Thank
must
God.
attend next week's session without fail because I prepared a particular verse for
Always,
this
always.
week.
I'm all.
It talks about what you said, right? There are a lot of challenges in today's world. Very beautiful point has been mentioned. We will take it up next week. Okay? Thank you, Sandhana. Yes, Bhakti, you have something to share.
Mother, Vyasadeva is also an incarnation of Krishna, isn't he? So what kind of he's not the main incarnation because what I'm trying to understand over here is because he seeks knowledge from his guru to do the right things, right? But being incarnation of Krishna, he is Krishna, isn't it? So he would obviously know it where he's going wrong, but he still needs the guidance.
Remember,
Why is
Krishna
that?
himself went to learn from Sandipani Muni. What I said, Acharya, they preach through their behavior. Krishna didn't need to go to Sandipani Muni. But Krishna went, stayed in a Gurukul, served his Guru. That is where he and Sudama became friends. He's teaching us कि go to a Guru. He's not just preaching. मुझे सब आता है, मैं तुमको बोल रहा हूँ, जाओ ये करो. No. He went to a Guru so that people say कि, oh my God, if Krishna went to a Guru, then obviously even I need to go to a Guru. Right? Vyasadeva is the literary incarnation of Krishna. The volume of work that Vyasadeva has come up with is not humanly possible. Right? So he's a literary incarnation of Krishna. And the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras, the Puranas, they are not wrong. They are amazing literature. But they're too vast and too complicated. So his guru is telling him कि भाई ये तो है ना, ये मंद बुद्धि वालों की कभी समझ में नहीं आएगा. So condense करो इस सब को और एक बुक बनाओ. It's like when we are in college, right? We haven't studied all year through. Exam के पहले 21 most important questions Navneet. Right? So the Bhagavad Gita is our how to pass this exam quickly, even with 35%. 35 मिला तो भी भगवान ले चलेंगे. Right? But all the other literatures is actually our full courseware. But we don't have the intelligence, we don't have the time, we don't have the guidance to actually understand the Vedas in the true spirit. Therefore, we will just get stuck somewhere in between. And we will take wrong meaning out of it. Like I said, we will take the cake and we will leave the sabji roti. ऐसा नहीं है कि सब्जी रोटी दाल चावल नहीं है. Right? But we are always in such a rush. We will only take the cake and run. Therefore, write the Bhagavatam. Right? Yes. Yes, Smriti.
I just, what Santana was asking about the kids. I mean, for my son, I mean, is it okay if I always tell him that? I mean, I usually always tell him that, okay, experience Krishna. So when you're in a difficulty or anything, I mean, focus on Krishna and you will feel his presence, him taking you out of that situation. And many times he agrees that, Mom, it was a very difficult situation. I couldn't understand what to do, but then I think Krishna helped me. So that is my way of making him, bring him towards Krishna rather than telling him or trying to preach him.
You
Is
read,
that okay?
you read, you do your sadhana, you express gratitude in front of him, right? You do what you're doing. Your child is watching you, your child is absorbing everything that you're doing. Whenever the time presents, and if your child is not upset about it, please do talk to him like this, right? Tell him about how you experience Krishna, and maybe he will experience Krishna too. But don't preach.
That's what I don't do.
Share your
So I
experience.
don't
Beautiful.
preach. Yeah, so that's what I try to do with him, because here, especially like the environment we are in, it's very difficult for him to tell him, okay, let's go to temple and let's
You
do
know, I
this,
have
let's
to
do
tell
that.
you, people who
So
are
I don't
sitting,
do that at home.
I have to stop you there. I have to tell all of you who are not sitting in India. All of you think India is so conducive to taking our children to the temple, to helping them chant, to helping them read the books. Let me tell you, it is far more difficult for people sitting in India to actually take their children to a temple or to make them believe in Krishna than it is for people living outside. Because we unfortunate souls, we have far more Western influence than you guys sitting in the West have. Okay? What happens is, for you, religion becomes whatever mom and dad is following. For us, religions is 30 puja parts happening every month. Right? For us, the influence is from every quarter. Right? There are 50,000 places of pilgrimage. There are 50,000 things that the children can do. And on the other side, they have this cool Western life where they have nothing to do. So, you know what, mom? I'm going to follow that. The Western world is so opulent. Right? The Western world doesn't believe in your Krishna, and still they're also happy. So please give up this misconception that it is easier for parents in India. There has been no time as difficult as today for parents in India to get their child to accept the presence of God, because India is going through a very sudden affluence, at least of people who take to spirituality. People are taking to spirituality because they are affluent. So our children are raised with silver spoons. Right? They've never really wanted something and waited for something. It's just appeared. Right? They've got things even before they've dreamt of it. Because horrible parents like us can't see our child wait 3 days to get something. Right? So it is a very difficult time.
It's the same.
Right? It's a very difficult time to get children, and especially because of all the influences, children are also more intelligent. Anything you tell them, like I think when our parents told us things, we questioned, but with respect. We heard more, asked less. Right? Today, even before you complete your sentence, they have a retort, and they're smart retorts. At least I think, oh my God, these kids are very smart. Right? So whatever my children say, I in fact can't refute. Yesterday was so funny. Yesterday, I wanted to go to a temple with my children. I said, "Chalo yaar, aaj na sab log Dagdu Seth jayenge." है ना? So my sister said, my son said, "What happened to you? Why Dagdu? I love Dagdu Seth temple. Okay, I love the temple." He said, "Why? How come you're not saying ISKCON?" I said, "यार तुम लोगों को है ना मेरे भगवान नहीं पसंद यार. चलो कहीं तो चलते हैं तो Dagdu Seth चलते हैं." Right? So I kind of think that I don't want to get in their face. Right? I don't want to push them, but I still want them to matha teko somewhere. Right? So we went to Dagdu Seth, and on the way we stopped at ISKCON, and then we came home. So it was lovely. Right? So it is a hard time for parents currently. Right? Yes, Karan, you have something to say.
You were correct, Varsha, saying that it's hard time in India itself. Even my elder daughter, when she puts up the ISKCON till at her campus, she feels awkward. Even her friends call it out. Why are you wearing this? It's difficult for kids to kind of follow the tradition. Yeah.
When she wears what? When she puts up what? ISKCON ka?
ISKCON tilak.
Oh wow! Your children wear the ISKCON tilak?
Rarely she wears, because there is a nearby temple over there built by Gates itself, right? Birla. He has built a temple. Everywhere you will find, right?
Correct.
Birla temple.
Correct.
Similar there. Well, so when she goes there she puts up that place. तो उसके लिए भी मुश्किल है वहाँ पे, मतलब ऐसा easy नहीं है to follow those traditions over there.
करण, वो बच्ची तो इतनी छोटी है. आई एम एन ओल्ड वुमन विद वन लेग इन द ग्रेव. आई डोंट वेयर अ तिलक. Right? Because there are so many things that you have to still adhere to. Right? And that is why from experience, I would say your internals are far more important than your externals. Right? मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि मैं तिलक डालूंगी तो लोग बोलेंगे यार ये देखो वापस है ना कृष्ण का कटकट शुरू कर गई. मुझे लगता है ज्यादा अपराध होगा मुझसे. You understand? So, do I bow down to the Lord? Yes, I do. Do I have faith in Him? Yes, I do. But do I have any external signs? No, I don't. So I can only imagine what your child is going through. Right?
Yeah, right.
And hats off ki in spite of that environment, she would still want to, persevere. That's because of lovely parents that she has.
Thanks to what she is doing. One question which I had, Varsha, for the last class learning, I didn't put it on the channel. You said that Naradji only gave advice when asked for, and even Krishna gave advice when asked for when somebody surrenders. But children के case में हम लोग कैसे resist करें? I think Smriti also had the similar feeling, right? मतलब knowingly or unknowingly you get into that mode of advising or preaching children. तो वो हर बार कर पाना मुश्किल है कि only by showcasing कि what we are doing actually you preach, but it comes out difficult every time. So how do you handle? Do we preach? Do we give advice to children or not?
Shastra tells you कि till the age of 12 आपको बच्चों को जितना बोलना है बोलो, जितना समझाना है समझाओ, जितनी कहानियां सुना सकते हो सुनाओ, है ना. उनको पूरा एनवायरमेंट दो till the age of 12. Now of course 12 is not a strict number. It depends on the child, right? जब तक your influence in their life is greater than the influence of their peers and the external environment. जब वो influence ज्यादा हो जाता है तब take a back seat, listen and then respond. Right? So you have to, till you are the person that she's running to for everything. You can do what you want. You can tell them what you want because they are lapping it all up. But when that time comes, when somebody else has taken prominence in their life, right? 12 also means somewhere ahead of mid school, right? Where they're more influenced by their teachers, by their friends, by movies, by whatever else they're exposed to. At that point, they have valid points. When we preach, we shoot down, right? We don't let them express themselves. So what happens is when we preach, we miss out on a lot of questions that they really want to ask us. We miss out on a lot of things that they want to express because they think, yaar, वापस शुरू हो गए पापा. है ना? So that is why after the age of 12, you listen more and then respond. Right? अगर आपकी बच्ची 14, 15, 16 तक भी आपकी बात सुन रही है, if you are still the anchor in her life, then please continue. पर जिस दिन वो बोलेगी कि नहीं पापा नहीं, मेरा बॉयफ्रेंड जो बोल रहा है ना वो सही, take a back seat, don't shoot down the boyfriend. Evaluate, talk about it. Right? So that's how you'd have to look at it. Yes, Santuna.
Karan ji and Smriti and Varsha ji, I mean, it's all reflecting what you said. The Bhagavad Gita has a beautiful verse which says that anywhere where there is a spark of beauty or tolerance, consider that to be coming from me. So if our child is creative, if our child is kind, if our child is working hard, even if they're not saying the Lord's name, the Lord is there. So my daughter is resisting because it's good for her to question. She's like you, Varsha ji, that she's saying, is your life good? Are you actually doing? She's watching very carefully. You're a single mom. Are you dating people? Are you smoking? Are you drinking? Are you indiscriminately mingling with men? She's checking because she doesn't mingle with people. She doesn't mingle with boys. She questions. Her friend is kissing a boy. She said, Mama, mujhe acha nahi laga. Why is my friend doing this? I don't want to be friends with her. Not telling her, Maya, she's going through a tough time. Be her friend still. She's rebelling against something. So she might not be taking Krishna's name, but Lord Krishna is with me because she is so creative that she stuns me. She can cook, she can sing in Sanskrit, जो मैं नहीं कर पाती हूँ क्योंकि वो भरतनाट्यम सीख रही है. She's creative, she's kind. So God is with her, and we have to learn from our children. Our children, when they come. So what you're saying, Varshaji, I have read a little different somewhere in a translation. You treat your child from the age of 0 to 5 like God, from 5 to 16 like a servant, and from 16 onwards as your friend. 0 to 5, they come with the spark directly from God. They are able to experience stillness. They can't speak, but they have God within them, and you can see that in a newborn child's face. तभी हम लोग newborn babies को देख कितना खुश होते हैं. हम रोते क्यों हैं? Because we are holding God in our hands. The mini Krishna we are holding in our
Wow.
hands. But when they reach 5, why a servant? Because we have to discipline. In those olden times, how would you treat your servant? आप उनका खाना का ख्याल रखोगे, उनका education, protection. Not that you'd hit them and abuse them like people do today to servants. No, the servant is like your child. You protect them, but you instruct them strictly. So I stand up to Maya. She can question me. I said, you can ask me the most obscene question that comes to your mind. You can ask me. Please come to me. Come to me if you say that, Mama, I had sex with somebody and the condom burst. What do I do? Please don't wait. When there's a mistake, come to me. But you can question me on everything. Don't expect me to answer. I might not answer if you ask me to, and I might scold you also. But don't waste time, because our children are influenced by a lot of things. They should not be afraid of us, and we learn a lot. I learn a lot from my daughter. She's my reason to live. When I lost faith in life and when I wanted to give up my life, I lived because of her. So God is with her, and we don't need to worry. Our children are protected. Why should we worry? God will protect our children. Whatever is happening in the world, even climate change, whatever, God is seeing, no? He will protect our children. Let us keep that faith. That's all, Varshaji.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Santwana. Nice, nice. Disciplining our children is our job. True, absolutely right. And once they grow up, treat them as your friends. Chanakya also says something very similar. Thank you so much. For children who want to